In addition to lines and polygons, you can also draw circles. I'm working a project named Draw Circle. And in this project's main activity, I'm now declaring just one instance of the marker class named marker. In this class's addMarker method, I'm creating a marker options object and drawing the marker and returning the reference to that field. And at the top of the method, I'm checking to see whether it's null, and if not, I'm calling my remove everything method, which is now simplified to just remove that one object. So now I'm ready to draw a shape. I'll start at the top of my class, where I'll declare a field to track the shape. This will be an instance of the circle class. I'll name it shape just like I have before with the polygon and the line. Then I'll go back to my addMarker method, and I'll be drawing the circle right here. Now before I add that code, I'm going to need to tell the map where the circle goes, and I'll do that with a lat_long object. It turns out I'm already creating a lat_long object here, and I'd like to reuse it. So I'm going to refactor this. I'll cut that expression out of the position method, and then paste it back up here. And I'll change that into a new variable. Data typed as lat_long, and I'll name it lat_long, and I'll instantiate it. Then I'll pass that object into the position method, and I'll be able to then reuse it with the circle. To create a circle, start with the circle options object. Again, it's the same sort of coding you've done before with the line and the polygon. I'll name this one circle options, and I'll instantiate it with new circle options, and then I'll call a series of methods. Just like the polygon, I'll set a stroke width, and I'll set it to 3. Then I'll set the fill color, and I'll use the same color I did before. I'll start with 0x, and then the first two characters are the alpha or transparency. And then I'll set the actual color with 0000FF. Next, I'll set the stroke color, and once again, I'll use a constant of color.blue. And then I'll add two properties that are unique to the circle. First, I'll call a method named center, and this receives the lat_long object, and this indicates where the circle will be drawn on the map. And then I'll call a method named radius. The radius is the number of meters, so the measurement isn't according to the size of the map itself, it's according to the actual geography of the location. And I'll pass in a value of 1000. And those are all of the options I need. Next, I'll add the circle to the map by calling shape equals, then mmap.addCircle, and I'll pass in my circle options object. Now, when the user does a long touch on the map, that's going to result in adding the marker and the circle, but when they do it again, I want to remove the circle at the same time as I remove the marker. So I'll come down here to my remove everything method, and I'll call shape.remove, and then shape equals null. And I'm ready to test my app. I'll touch and hold, and that creates the marker and the circle. Now if I zoom out, notice that the circle size changes. Again, because it's covering a certain amount of geography, not a certain amount of the map graphic. If I turn the map, I see that the center of the marker stays the same, and the circle travels with the marker as I move the map from side to side. If I touch and hold again, that recreates both the marker and the circle. There's one more thing you need to know about shapes. They only persist for the current activity session. So if the activity is destroyed and then recreated, the shapes won't be automatically restored. I'll go into my settings, and I'll release the fixed orientation so that the phone can auto-rotate. Then I'll turn the phone sideways, and I see that the map is completely recreated, but the shape goes away. I'll bring it back to portrait, and again, I don't see the shape. Now, I still have some code in my app that's setting an initial position each time the activity is recreated, but even if I took that code out, the shape still wouldn't be restored. If you need that functionality, you can save information about the shapes using shared preferences or SQLite. Persist the marker and shape information somehow, and then each time the activity is recreated, you can recreate the presentation you want. Many apps won't need that sort of persistent functionality, but if you need it in your app, try using one of those local data storage options.